Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Victoria Tundu MQ Abiola.
Good morning.
Yes, looking dashing on a Monday morning.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is called powder blue.
No, some
Isn't
people
keeping up.
they're calling it morning show blue. You know, you have morning show blue. Now, Ruben, I'm not going to join you in hounding our players. Okay. They need all the encouragement, and we'll give them. They are going out there. Eagles, go get us that ticket tomorrow.
Here.
Thank you. Okay. Now we start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Yes, the lead story: Buhari, our unity at convention, signposts victory in 2023 polls. Yes, the President Muhammadu Buhari, I will call him Mr. Consensus. Yes, of course, if I were him, I would gloat over what transpired in that convention of consensus, because everything boils down to the president. I saw the list that was flying all over the weekend. In fact, Ruben, I was looking for your name, because any name that just entered that list is carry go, as they say in Nigerian politics. And with all the signatures of stakeholders who have bought into the consensus. But don't forget that the president, the only reason why he did not sign the electoral amendment bill last year was because the bill confined parties to only direct primaries. So you can see why the president was angling for options, which included, of course, the consensus. But they were able to navigate the booby traps, because if you read that law, there are terms and conditions for consensus to be arrived at. But somehow the APC got most of these of the contestants to come out and renounce their aspiration. Good one for the president. He has pulled this through. What next? Will the president also be angling for a consensus arrangement to pick the presidential candidate of the APC? I will not put that past him, because he once said, not too long ago, that he has a candidate. If he mentions that candidate, maybe they will kill him. So who is that candidate? And others, I hope they are not just wasting their resources. If the president has already pulled this consensus through for the party leadership, what next? Now, the leadership newspaper also has something about the PDP, the APC convention. PMB absorbs Adamu, says ex-PDP members in APC have repented. Repented of what? Of what sin? What sin exactly? I don't know. Well, I know Adamu has, Abdullahi Adamu still has some cases with the anti-graft body, EFCC. I hope the repentance does not extend to that. Now, but he's saying that those, because it's quite funny that a PDP man, because Adamu was elected twice as governor of Nasarawa State on the platform of the PDP. But that is how it is in Nigerian politics. The politicians just swing from one end to the other. If PDP does not favor you, move over to APC. You just become the chairman. Adamu can confirm. But Abdullahi Adamu, it must be said, is an old war horse in Nigerian politics, quite articulate and sound. Somebody I've encountered from close quarters. He will do a good job. But the Punch newspaper reporting, National Working Committee, APC inaugurates appeal panel Tuesday. PDP says Adamu has fraud charges. And that in itself, is it a stain or a blight? But again, the PDP mocks the APC over imposition of Senator Abdullahi Adamu, a man who was arraigned on 149 counts of alleged fraudulent award of contracts and stealing of public funds estimated at 15 billion as its national chairman. Well, that's the Punch reporting what the PDP has highlighted. Well, the Vanguard newspaper, convention aftermath, focus shifts to Buhari's successor. Buhari may back dark horse in succession contest. Tinubu, Shibajo Bello, and Mishi supporters upbeat on their chances. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, yes, the lead story, inadequate revenue collection weakens Nigeria's debt profile. But I'm more interested in the story below the photograph. 2023 presidential election. Jonathan gives presidency condition to join APC. Tinubu groups kick against consensus presidential ticket. Well, all the president's men, President Jonathan's men, they should know. Ruben, people want to hear from you. Are you in the know of what is happening in your man's camp? But according to this report, the one condition, good luck, Ebele Jonathan has given, is that he has to be picked as a consensus candidate. He doesn't want all the rabble-rousing, the wahala that goes with contesting with other aspirants. Is that report true? But again, it's something to keep a watch at. Now, the Guardian newspaper, yes, more presidential candidate, the Guardian, Wike to run for president, blames Atiku Saraki for PDP's 2015 defeat, says, I have capacity to remove APC. Southeast PDP backs Southern governors' stance on zoning of presidency to the South. Or Tom, on Southern presidency, I stand. Party won't preempt zoning committee's recommendation, says spokesman. Yes, the PDP has set up a 37-man committee on zoning, to advise it on zoning. When you don't want to decide on, so you set up an unwieldy committee, 37-man, each one representing each state of the federation and the federal capital territory. We'll wait for their report, but there's a story just below the masthead of the Guardian newspaper. Harvard economist predicts Emefiele as next Obasanjo. I was very much interested in that report. But the meat of this story is that at the APC Convention, well, maybe Emefiele has made history. The economist Oliver McPherson Smith, yes, he said, it's not very often that a sitting central bank governor is lauded by throngs of singing and dancing supporters, but backers of the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, might have just made history at the weekend's APC Convention, National Convention. Then he went further to say, Emefiele, on his part, has so far kept silent on whether he will run, while others are quick to throw their hearts in the ring. The CBN governor appears to be taking the route of a diligent but humble public servant who may be pressured into running. Ruben, I know you don't like people who are pressured. If you want to run, come out. Come out and say so.
You don't need
that you want to run.
Candidates. That's not.
Yes, but I like that that angle. They must have made history as the first central bank governor to be lauded at a convention with singing and dancing. And he said, maybe whether those dancing and singing were contrived or organic, left to be seen. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, 2023 presidency, Southeast Lobby Group gets favorable responses. Igbo elders unveil stance action plan this week. Southeast PDP votes for power shift to the South. If we just look at the Business Day newspaper quickly, how Nigeria's oil sector walked to a cliff edge. Yes, when Mele Kyari became NNPC Group Managing Director in 2019, he projected that he will raise Nigeria oil production to 3 million barrels a day. Ambitious, he would say, but today we know better. Even when we struggle to produce 1.4 million barrels per day, the bulk of it stolen. That's the story. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Times of London. Putin wants to divide Ukraine West 1. Kiev intelligence, he says, Kremlin planning Korean-style partition of country. Top intelligence officer, yes, Brigadier General Krilo Bodanov, top intelligence officer of Ukraine, saying the aim of Putin, perhaps his plan B, if you will, is to divide Ukraine. You have, just like you have North and South Korea. Now, the Telegraph newspaper backlash at Biden for Putin must go comment. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, is joining those saying no to regime change. That is not the goal. But Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, is trying to modify what Putin said, what Biden said. And of course, the Financial Times of London is reporting that story. Blinken softens Biden remarks by saying U.S. has no aim to oust Putin. The New York Times is reporting Mariupol teetering amid signs Russia is shifting focus. Ukraine say foe may concentrate on East in effort to split country. Ruben Rufai.
Biden has to be careful. He's been making a lot of gaffes. Flip-flops recently. He should be careful. I mean, especially that war criminal thing he said. You should be careful,
Butcher.
Please.
He said butcher as well.
Butcher
no, but
as well.
the
Should be careful.
what he said has a sinister connotation because of America's history with regime change in other countries. But, you know, this is the thing with Biden. Damned if it does, damned if it doesn't. Because people have been saying, oh, he didn't talk tough. I recall distinctly. No. But now he's trying to talk tough, and it's a disaster. It has backfired.
I support him talking tough when he said if Putin go ahead to use nuke, he's going to use nuke in return. I read him out the consequences.
I don't think in the middle of a war.
Unfortunately, we don't have
get people
time.
Killed.
So we finish. So many things to talk about.
I wanted to hear from you, Ruben.
Well, but there's no time.
Okay.
You have to wait for another time. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Efeni.